The founding of Rome, myth, legend, and history. This story, deeply ingrained in Roman culture, tells us how the Eternal City began its journey to becoming the heart of one of the greatest empires in history. This dramatic tale intertwines themes of destiny, divine intervention, and human conflict, setting the stage for the rise of Rome. Our story begins in Alba Longa, a city founded by Ascanius, the son of Aeneas, the Trojan hero. It is here, around 800 BCE, that a king named Numitor reigned. Numitor's reign, however, was not without strife. His brother, Amulius, craved the throne and plotted to usurp it. In a ruthless coup, Amulius forcefully removed Numitor and took power for himself. To ensure Numitor's line would never threaten his rule, Amulius killed Numitor's two sons and forced Numitor's daughter, Rhea Silvia, also known as Ilia, to become a Vestal virgin. As a priestess of Vesta, she was sworn to chastity. Her womb denied the chance to bear heirs. But fate, as the ancients believed, is a force no mortal can contain. One night, according to legend, Rhea Silvia was taken against her will, and later claimed she had been visited by Mars, the god of war. The historian Livy writes, either she imagined it or it was better to have committed it with a god. However, according to the historian Dionysius of Halicarnassus, some accounts suggest that Amulius himself, disguised in armor to conceal his identity, assaulted Rhea Silvia. But whether through divine intervention or human cruelty, she gave birth to twins, Romulus and Remus, in 771 BCE. Enraged, Amulius ordered the infants to be cast into the Tiber River, left to the mercy of the elements. A servant took the babies to the river, but the Tiber was flooded. Unable to carry out the task as planned, the servant left the infants at the edge of the waters. When the water receded, the basket was caught by the roots of a fig tree at the base of the Palatine Hill. This tree, once called the fig tree of Romulus, became known as the ruminal fig tree, a sacred marker in Rome's origin story. Its sheltering roots and the divine intervention that spared the infants' lives set the stage for what would become one of the greatest legends in human history. As the basket lay nestled beneath its sacred roots, a she-wolf or lupa was drawn to the sound of the crying infants. With a mother's instinct, she nursed them, her cave, the Lupercal, becoming their first home. A woodpecker, another sacred animal of Mars, is said to have brought them food. A shepherd named Faustulus came upon them. Some accounts claim that Faustulus had originally been the one ordered to take the twins away, but had a change of heart. He took the infants to his wife, Acca Laurentia, to be brought up. Laurentia was called Lupa by the shepherds, not for her ferocity, but because she was a common prostitute, a term that also meant she-wolf in ancient Rome. Romulus and Remus grew up as shepherds, exploring the forests of Latium and defending their flocks. However, their strength and leadership soon drew attention. During a festival of the Lupercalia, Remus was captured by Numitor's men and brought before the king. Meanwhile, Faustulus, driven by fear and urgency, disclosed the truth of their birth to Romulus. He revealed the circumstances of their abandonment and their divine lineage. Numitor, recognizing his grandsons, conspired with Romulus to overthrow Amulius. Together they stormed the palace, slaying Amulius and restoring Numitor to his rightful throne amidst cheers from the people. Having restored their grandfather, Numitor, to the throne, the brothers' journey did not end there. They decided to start a new settlement on the very spot where they had been left as infants, the Palatine Hill. But the brothers disagreed on who should run the new town and name it. Seeking divine guidance, they ascended their chosen hills and awaited an omen. Remus saw 6 vultures first, and then Romulus saw 12. Remus claimed victory because he spotted the 6 vultures first, while Romulus argued he had won since he observed the largest number. The disagreement escalated, their rivalry growing fiercer with each passing moment. The disagreement between the brothers turned violent. In a fit of rage, Romulus struck Remus down, killing him. Some accounts say Remus had mocked Romulus by leaping over the walls of the city, inciting his brother's wrath. Another version of the story suggests that it was not Romulus, but one of his followers, who killed Remus to defend Romulus's honor and the sanctity of the city's walls. Thus Rome was born, baptized in blood with Romulus as its sole founder. Romulus established a groundbreaking policy to ensure Rome's growth and diversity. He offered Roman nationality to foreigners, welcoming them into the nascent city. A sanctuary was created for exiles, the dispossessed, criminals, escapees, and freemen seeking refuge. This policy not only expanded the city's population, but also laid the foundation for Rome's reputation as a place of renewal and opportunity. Romulus fortified the Palatine Hill, the heart of the new city. To ensure its growth, he devised a plan to attract settlers. But Rome's early days were marked by a lack of women. Romulus devised a plan, inviting the neighboring Sabines to a festival. During the revelry, the Romans seized the Sabine women. Roman historians disagreed on the number of women taken, but they concurred that all were virgins. The Sabines demanded their women's return, but Romulus refused. War broke out, with 3 fierce battles fought before Titus Tatius led a final Sabine invasion against Rome. Under Titus Tatius, the Sabines invaded Rome and captured its citadel, the Capitoline Hill. Tarpeia, the daughter of Spurius Tarpeius, commander of the Roman citadel, betrayed her people, opening the gates for promises of gold. According to Livy, there are 2 versions of her story. In one, Titus Tatius himself bribed her with the promise of gold jewelry to betray Rome. In another account, Tarpeia demanded a reward for her services, specifically requesting what the Sabines wore on their left arms, interpreted as their gold bracelets. Instead, the Sabines crushed her beneath their shields, which they also carried on their left arms. Lucius Piso offers a different account, claiming that Tarpeia acted out of a misguided sense of duty, intending to disarm the Sabines by acquiring their shields, but was betrayed and killed for her efforts. Whatever her motives, Tarpeia's story became a grim reminder of the cost of treachery. The Tarpeian Rock, named after her, became infamous as a place where traitors were executed, thrown to their deaths as a grim reminder of loyalty. But it was the women, now wives of the Romans, who brought peace. They stood between their fathers and husbands, forging a treaty that united the 2 peoples under joint rule. The treaty resulted in the merger of the 2 states, with Romulus and Titus Tatius agreeing to co-rule. However, this unity was short-lived, as Titus died in a riot at Lavinium, a conflict of his own making, leaving Romulus as the sole ruler once more. Romulus structured the city with foresight, creating the Senate, an advisory committee composed of members drawn from the aristocracy by birth. He divided citizens into tribes, ensuring representation and loyalty. But his reign ended as mysteriously as it began. During a storm on the Campus Martius, Romulus was suddenly covered by a cloud and disappeared. Some claimed he was taken up to the heavens by Mars, becoming a god. Others whispered a darker tale, that Romulus was chopped into pieces by the senators standing beside him, who grew tired of his power and plotted his demise. For a time, the Senate tried to rule without a king, but discontent grew among the people, who yearned for strong leadership. Initially, Rome sought to function without a monarch, relying on temporary officials to oversee governance. These officials, known as interreges, were drawn from the Senate and served in rotation. However, this system proved unsatisfactory as unrest grew among the citizenry. An election process was devised. First, the interrex, acting as a temporary ruler, nominated a candidate. This individual was presented to the Roman people, who voted to approve or reject the nomination. Once the people confirmed their choice, the Senate then gave its formal approval, solidifying the new king's authority. Through this process, Numa Pompilius, a man of wisdom and renowned piety, was elected to lead Rome into its next chapter. Rome's founding story is more than an ancient tale. It's a testament to the enduring power of myth and history. According to Roman tradition, the city was established on April 21st, 753 BCE. This date is derived from the writings of ancient historians like Atticus and Varro, who calculated the founding date based on Roman and Greek calendars. It is traditionally celebrated as Rome's birthday, marking the moment Romulus began building the city's walls on the Palatine Hill. It is still commemorated annually as Perilia, an ancient festival initially dedicated to the pastoral deity Pallas, but later associated with the city's foundation. But long before the myths of Romulus and Remus, the area around modern-day Rome was home to small settlements. These early inhabitants were part of the Latial culture, a group of Italic tribes that lived during the early Iron Age. Archaeological evidence suggests that people inhabited the region as early as the 10th century BCE. These settlers, often referred to as Latins, lived in simple huts and relied on farming and trade for survival. Excavations on Palatine Hill, traditionally considered the site of Rome's founding, have uncovered remnants of ancient structures and artifacts. These findings align with the timeline of Rome's legendary founding, providing a fascinating intersection of myth and history. While the stories of Romulus and Remus are largely mythological, they reflect deeper truths about Rome's identity and origins. Modern historians and archaeologists continue to explore how myth and fact intertwine in the city's founding narrative. As Livy, Plutarch, and others have chronicled, it is a tale that reminds us of the power of destiny and the enduring spirit of a people.